Thank you everyone for joining today. My name is Lau. I am one of the regional managers here at Bond University. And it is my pleasure to talk to you about this fantastic university. This is our beautiful campus of the university. What you can see there is quite large, and we have a lot of green and water views. As you can see, a very nice lake in the front of the university. And all the different faculty buildings and the libraries and all the different buildings spread across the campus. It's a campus that is located on the Gold Coast, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the city later on in the presentation after I talk about the university. But just for the ones of you that know about the city, what you can see there at the back where the buildings are, that is Surfers Paradise and Broad Beach. So those are kind of two of the more popular areas here on the Gold Coast, and that takes about 20 minutes from campus on public transport. So Bond is the first private university here in Australia. And it is a university that is very different to most other Australian universities. Usually universities here are public and they are large institutions. They will have between 30,000 to 80,000 students. While at Bond, we believe in a personalized education experience, and we actually have a cap in student numbers. We don't want to be a big university. Bond wants to have a small cohort of students and a small student community to really be much more engaging, much more personalized, and to really get to know every single one of our students. Something else that is quite different about Bond is that we have almost half of our students are international, and we have a very balanced nationality mix that I'm going to show later in another slide. I mentioned before, it is a lot about the student experience. So Bond is private, but it's non-for-profit. All the revenue that the university generates is reinvested in the student experience, in facilities, in lecturers, and there is here a survey that a government agency conducts every year, and then they compile it and they create what is called the Good Universities Guide. Bond is #1 for student experience, and it has been for the last 14 years. That in that survey, the students, Australian and international students, are asked a number of questions about their experience at uni from many different perspectives. So they can ask how easy it was to contact an academic when they had a question. They ask about the dynamics in the class, about if the university helps them to get an internship. So there are many different angles. And then the students say what is their level of satisfaction with their own university. And Bond, as I mentioned, it is the #1 in satisfaction from a student's perspective. And it has been for a long time. There is a similar survey from the same government agency that is about asking employers of fresh graduates their level of satisfaction with their employees. So the supervisors of the fresh graduates are asked a few questions as well about the new employees, the technical skills, how easy it was to transition to the workplace, and many different questions. And Bond is also rated #1 from the employer's perspective, and it has been for the only 2 editions that survey has had. So it started in 2017, and that survey happens every second year. So in 2017 and 2019, Bond has been rated with the highest satisfaction from students and from employers' perspective. And this is how you can see the difference with the national average. So in blue is the satisfaction levels for Bond, and in white and gray, you can see the national average. So it's also a big difference in level of satisfaction. So it is a strong focus on students here at Bond, but also there are quite a few things that makes Bond quite different to other universities. One is that we have 3 semesters in the year. Okay, so usually in Australia, there are 2 semesters, one in February, one in July. We have 3. We have a semester in January, one in May, and one in September. So there are more intakes during the year, and also this allows the students to graduate sooner and start working earlier. And I show you how our calendar works in the next slide. We also have the best student to teacher ratio. So we have 1 academic for every 10 students. So that aligns with what I mentioned before about being able to offer that personalized student experience. So the professors in the class and the lecturers know every single one of their students by their first name. They know the background, and more importantly, they know what the career goals are. So in addition to the knowledge transfer, the academics are real mentors. So they actually help them in preparing for that career path they are looking for, and really support them with professional connections or with advice to actually make that career happen for students. And something else that makes Bond a very special place, because it's a private university and very strong connections with the industry, there is a lot of emphasis at the university to prepare our students to be graduate work ready. And I show you a few initiatives in the next slides as well. So this is about the academic calendar. So as I mentioned, the model is in gray, the most typical model in Australia, 2 semesters, one starts in February, one starts in July. There are 13 to 14 weeks of classes in each semester. So in total, students in most universities in Australia will study 28 weeks in a year and will have holidays for 24 weeks. So at Bond, when Bond was established about 30 years ago, it was decided that instead of having such a long holidays during the year, to add another teaching cycle to allow students to graduate sooner. So the semesters are exactly the same. There are also 13 to 14 weeks, but teaching weeks are 42 in the year, only 10 weeks of holidays in each year. But our graduates of undergraduate degrees, they graduate in 2 years after finishing high school instead of 3. So as you can see there, we have in January, we have an intake in May and one in September. So if you start in January, in December the following year, you already are with your degree out in the workforce. While a lot of the students will still be in the final year, will take another year. So that obviously allows the students to start their careers earlier, to start earning graduate salaries earlier. And also for international students, they save 1 year of living expenses. For postgraduate students, a lot of the master degrees are 4 semesters. So our students can graduate in 1 year and 4 months instead of 2 years. That is the usual length for most master degrees here. There are a lot of international students that want to apply for a post-study work visa after graduation. So for those students, we offer in our master degrees a variation of the program that is called professional. So for example, we have a Master of Business, and then we have a Master of Business Professional, or Master of Project Management, Master of Project Management Professional. So the academic content of both programs is exactly the same. There are 4 semesters, same subjects, same number of electives. The big difference is that the professional programs, we add 20 weeks of professional experience at the end of the degree. So after students complete the academic component of the program, then they have 20 weeks of practical experience that, depending on the interest of the students and the area of study, it could be an internship, or it could be a large research project, or it could be kind of a consulting teamwork for one of our industry partners. In the professional programs, the length of study is 92 weeks. So when students complete the degree, they are eligible for a post-study work visa. And because Bond is outside Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, that work visa can actually be for 3 years instead of the standard 2. Okay, so this is how our academic calendar works. In terms of personal education, I mentioned we have 1 academic for every 10 students. This is the typical lecture in most Australian universities for undergraduate programs. There are about 300 to 500 students. Okay, so obviously you can imagine the learning environment, quite difficult to ask questions in the lecture theater, even quite difficult to make social connections or meet classmates until you are into the semester, because one day you sit with some people, another day you are with other people. So it's a little bit difficult to start getting to know people. This is how it looks at Bond. So at Bond, our average size for undergraduate is between 25 and 30 students. So that allows for a much more intimate environment with the academic. As I mentioned, they get to know every single student, also between classmates, but also it allows for a more practical approach to education. So the way of teaching is very different in a small environment, where it can be much more about interaction, much more dynamic. So for example, in the Bachelor of Business, we have a couple of subjects that students not only learn how to open a business, but they actually run a business for a whole semester. So they register the business for tax purposes, launch the website if they need to, they hire staff if they have to, and then they run the semester, for a whole semester, they run the business, which is possible because an academic can mentor 5 or 6 new businesses in a semester. It will be impossible if it has to mentor businesses for the 500 students that they may have in other universities. And this is just an example. All the programs here will have that practical approach. So the architecture students will have a student-based experience where they actually work in projects. The law students will learn about legal skills in courtroom. And so it's a very, very strong focus in what is happening in the real world, and then trying to bring a lot of that experiences within the classroom. But in terms of preparing students for work, besides what they see in the classrooms, there are a lot of other activities that the university have. So for example, we have this core curriculum that there are these 3 subjects. They are embedded in every single degree and every single undergraduate degree. So regardless of what our students are doing, if it's biomedical science, if it's communications, they are going to need these skills in their professional environment. So they are going to need critical thinking and communication. They are not going to need to know how to collaborate and work in teams and develop leadership skills, and also responsibility, integrity, and civic discourse. So these are 3 subjects that are compulsory in every single degree. And this is about developing all those soft skills that employers are looking for when they hire. We also have a program that we call Beyond Bond. And this is a compulsory program for undergraduate students that is based on extracurricular activities. So all our undergraduate students will go through Beyond Bond, and what they need to do is to accumulate 100 points during their degrees. And the way that they accumulate those points is with extracurricular activities that help them developing all those employability and soft skills. So depending on the interest of the students, it could be doing internships, it could be participating in professional network events that the university organizes, it could be joining the mentoring program that the university offers, it could be being a student ambassador. So there are many different activities that the students can engage, but they need to accumulate the 100 points, otherwise they don't graduate. And we made this compulsory because we know that with extracurricular activities complement very well the academic knowledge they are acquiring during the course, but the extracurricular activities and those soft skills that they develop is really what helps our students and our graduates to stand out. So a degree from Bond is very likely that it will help and get you a job interview or several job interviews. But when our students and our graduates are in the job interviews, they really need to stand out. And the way to do that is to bring all these experiences that they have had and talk about that, how that helped them build the professional that they are. And really by standing out is when they actually have the job offer and not just a job interview. We also have a transformer program, which is our entrepreneurial program. So it's for students that want to develop entrepreneurial mindset, or they have a business idea and they want to open their own business or expand a family business. So this program is optional. It's available for every student in every area of study, in any level of study, undergraduate, postgraduate. And it is very optional, really. Students can choose how much they want to engage with the program. It is available throughout every single semester. So in one semester, some students engage more, in other semesters a little bit less. It's really, really flexible. But the objective is to basically these 3 main areas. One is about developing an interpersonal skills of entrepreneurs. So really that entrepreneurial mindset, that leadership, the resilience, learning how to pitch an idea, all that aspect about being an entrepreneur. The other one is about the technical skills. So really learning about design thinking. We have a startup law clinic where a lawyer comes and talks to participants of the program in what are the legal implications of having your own business and all that advice. And then there's the execution. And the execution is for students that actually have a business idea or they have a family business they want to expand. And through the execution program, they actually get professional mentoring from professional coaches that help our students to go through the business plan, connecting with funding sources if they are needed, and really help students to have that plan ready to start the business and launch the business if they want to do it while they are still at the university. I mentioned before about our nationality mix, and this is the spread that we have. So as I mentioned, we have about half of our students that are Australian students, and the other half, almost half, international. And it is a very different nationality mix than like other universities. The nationality that is the most represented on campus are actually students from the USA. Okay, so Bond has been modeled in a way or inspired in a way in private universities, private boutique universities in the US, and we managed to replicate quite a few things in terms of campus environment or strong connections with the sports, the kind of universities in the US are known for. So the students from the US that come, they really fit in very well here in this campus environment, and that's why we are quite popular with the students there. Obviously, we have also a good number of students from many other countries, China, India, but also we have in our top 5 Norway and Canada, which is quite unique for universities here in Australia. But it is a very, very balanced nationality mix. So because there are not any nationality that has a majority, more than 50, 60%, we managed not to really create silos in the student community. It's a very, very multicultural and integrated community. It is a really nice environment to meet people from all around the world. In terms of a study option, we cover almost every single area of a study, except for engineering. We don't have a faculty of engineering. We do have some engineers that study here doing things like project management or project innovations or data analytics, but not engineering programs per se. But we do have kind of all the architecture and built environment, a very strong business school, also a very strong faculty of law. We have health science and medicine and a lot of communication, journalism, international relations, psychology. So we cover most of the areas of study. In terms of entry requirements for undergraduate programs, it's equivalent to year 12 in Australia. So if for students that are in international schools, that is the score in SAT or IB or AP. For students from the Thai high school system with Matayom 6, you will need a 91% average in the final year. Most of our degrees also require a 6.5 in IELTS. There are some that have a little bit higher. And again, for students that come from an international school with a language of instruction, so with a letter from the school saying that the language of instruction was English, they don't need to take IELTS, otherwise just an IELTS 6.5. For students that don't meet the direct entry requirement, like for example, that Matayom 91%, we have different pathways. So we have diploma programs that usually cover the first 8 topics in the degree. So actually it doesn't extend the length of a study. Students can still graduate within 2 years and complete a diploma and a bachelor degree. We also have a diploma preparation program and we have a foundation program. So basically depending on your academic background and your grades from high school, admissions will advise what is the best pathway to progress to the bachelor degree that you choose. For postgraduate students, the entry requirements is completing a bachelor degree that is equivalent to Australia, and some master degrees may have other requirements like references or work experience, like the MBA program. We have a range of scholarships available to international students. So for undergraduate students, the most generous is called the International Undergraduate Excellence Scholarship, and that is a scholarship of 50% of the tuition fees. We have an international standout scholarship that it is for 25% of the tuition fees, and that is available for undergraduate and postgraduate. Both the excellence and the standout scholarships are based on grades. So for students that have excellent grades, may be competitive for the excellence scholarship, and very good grades may make you competitive for the standout. Then we have the International Leadership Scholarship, that has a value of $10,000 and is also available for undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. The leadership scholarship complements good grades with proven leadership skills. So it's not only about having fantastic grades. The grades don't need to be that great, but you need to show that you have developed leadership skills in the community settings like volunteering or at a school or at work if you are a postgraduate student. So because we have 3 intakes, we also have 3 rounds of scholarships. Usually they close about 2 months before the intake, and the announcement comes about 2 or 3 weeks after they close, so well before the intake, so students can make the decision with time if they depend on a scholarship. Okay, so going back to the Gold Coast, and just very briefly, so I can address some of your questions about studying here and any specific programs. But this is basically the buildings that I showed you before, the ones that are here at the end. This is the other view. So that is Surfers Paradise and Broad Beach. The Gold Coast is a coastal city. We have almost 60 kilometers of beach, and a beautiful beach, as you can see there, quite spacious. The weather on the Gold Coast is fantastic. We have 300 days of sunshine. The summers are hot, but not too hot. Usually goes to 30, 33 degrees. But usually because we are on the coast, there is a nice breeze. So the evenings usually go to 20, 22 degrees. So in most cases, you don't need an air conditioning to sleep. You know, it's kind of a cool nights. Winter gets colder, but not too cold. So again, during the day, 20, 22 degrees. Again, sunny, so quite pleasant weather. In the evening, gets a little bit colder, can go to 9, 10 degrees, but just a light jacket is sufficient. But with 20, 22 degrees, it's still a beautiful day. So a lot of people enjoy here on the Gold Coast outdoor living. A lot of pools, swimming pools here are heated, so even in winter, it's beautiful to go into the pools. It is a very popular city for tourism because we have, because we have such a beautiful weather, beautiful beaches. You can see there at the back, we also have a very nice mountain range. So for hiking, mountain biking, to see waterfalls, it's only half an hour away from the city. It is a city that we only have 600,000 people, so it's quite a small city. But we have about 10 million visitors in the year. So the dynamics of the city are very, very interesting. So for us that live here or for our students, we can actually choose if we want a very relaxed lifestyle, like in that kind of city, we can do that. Everything is like 10 minutes away. There are no traffic issues. You can go to the beach, you can go to work and study just within a radius of 15 minutes maybe. And you can see there, again, if you continue the line of the beach at the end, we have a lot of local beaches. You know, there are no high races, so very, very spacious. There is not many people around. But then for the times, or for the people that want something more active, or for the times when we want something more active, we can come to these places where it's so vibrant because we have so many visitors. There is something going on every single day. So there are markets, there are festivals, and nightlife is fantastic. We have 4 very big theme parks, like Movie World and Wet and Wild, and it's only 20 minutes away. So everything is close by. It's a very very nice lifestyle. Also because it's so popular with tourism, there are a lot of job opportunities for our students. As you probably know, international students can work in Australia part-time. So there are plenty of jobs, especially in hospitality, in restaurants, in bars, and so on. But yeah, that's a little bit about the city. It's only about an hour away from Brisbane, which is the capital of the state, and it's the 3rd largest city in Australia. And it's only an hour or 45 minutes flight to Sydney, and just over an hour to Melbourne. So it's a city that is quite well connected. In fact, a lot of people that live on the Gold Coast commute and work in Brisbane for some more specialized jobs as well. So it is a very, very nice city, very nice lifestyle.